Alrighty. Let us, hi guys. Hi, hi. Everybody say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Good evening, guys. And hopefully the audio is working.
Yes.
Yeah, wait, let me check.
If it is not working, please let us know.
Let me check the stream right now to see if you
Go and check the stream right now if we can be heard.
Can you hear us? Maybe.
Hopefully, we can be heard.
Yeah, because
Clear naman ba? Sabi ni David. Hi, David. All
Hi
right.
guys, we can be heard.
All
we
right.
can be
So good evening, everyone. Welcome to another evening of Level Up Geek Night podcast starring the Level Up crew. Yahoo!
-1.
-1. Oh.
this is always going to be a -1 episode. So
Yes.
you can sing along with us.
Yes, you can sing along with us.
I don't know.
Don't tempt me.
Don't tempt us.
I don't You guys do it anyway. I can't stop you.
By the way, my name is John B, and I am the Christian Geek, and I am together with the Level Up crew. I have our resident bear, Gio. I
Hi.
have our Chimichano Taco down here, Maya. And of course, the one that runs it all, our financial operations. Joke lang.
Your FO? Anong FO?
CFO. Our CFO and boss man, John G. Hi, John.
Hi.
Alright. So tonight, since it's still March, may pahabol pa kami na episode on Women's Month. Yes.
Women's
So we
History
want to
Month.
celebrate Women's Month tonight by celebrating the fictional females in our geekeries, in our hobbies, in our fandoms. And of course, we're going to talk about how inspirational they are. Hindi lang kung gaano kaganda at sexy sila, but really how they have inspired us in our lives. No? And so, with that being said, sino bang pag-uusapan natin? Ano bang pag-uusapan natin? Anong fandoms ba? John, what do you think?
Okay, so ang daming fandom, honestly. And it's like, okay, so we can go from like TV shows to books to movies, comics, anime, manga, video games. I don't know. We want to start with something a little more classic because I know
manga like Lord of the Rings. And that's the thing I also am very much a fan of Lord of the Rings a lot. So let's
Okay.
I don't know if Zero. I know Zero's not too much a fan.
I'm not too much of a fan of the like I'm not like a big lore person, so I know the characters, I don't know them.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay,
Actually, same. I've only seen
the movie.
The movies. Alright.
Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. You know that. Of course, among the four of us, I think you're the one who's the most well well read.
Yes.
I'm the one who's most
Most deep into it, yeah.
He's the most deep into yung book.
So let's start with the argue. No offense intended. Arguably the shyest fan. Let's start with Gio.
Okay.
Do you have anyone there that you like?
Hmm. Um, I like what's your crap? I forget what I don't remember the name. What's her name?
It's not and then maybe we'll recognize it.
The okay. Let me see if I can do a very terrible description of it.
That's
Why? The the daughter of a very famous vocalist.
With Tyler. Yes. Okay, so Tyler is Arwen.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Fifth,
And
revolutionary voice cancellation technology. Sorry, go.
Wait, I'm not voice. No.
voice canceling. We're not voice
Yeah,
canceling.
sorry, nagsalita yung
Oh, you want to cancel me already?
cancel you.
You can't even remember. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. You're not that kind of bird or geek.
Go. Yeah, that's one of the few characters that made, I mean, female characters that made a big impression, I think, to any fan of the, or any viewer of the movie.
She was the one who saves for them.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice scene. It was pretty epic scene.
Oh, wow.
The whole water thing, that was really
Oh
cool.
yeah, that was really cool, man.
Really
I-
cool.
Where she washes away those the rates.
The Nazi people, yeah. I'm just gonna flash my faulty nerd card if anyone who's gonna called me out in that. Yes, I am aware it was not Arwen who signed the water in the books.
Who was them?
It was the Glorfindel.
Yeah, it was somebody else. It was Glorfindel who did that. But since they did not actually, sorry, off cam, may problema yung camera ko. But anyway, since they did not have time to put Glorfindel in the movies, so they substituted Arwen to actually be the one doing that. It looks cool. It still looked cool though.
It was an epic scene, and honestly, it's all right because throwing Glorfindel in at that point.
Chris' new
It's a
revolutionary
difficult
voice
thing for me
cancellation
to have that
technology allows you to not only remove noise, but also other voices that are substantially different than your own.
history.
Now, you can have calls with other people talking in the background, and only your voice will be heard in the other end of the call. This is groundbreaking audio technology, and it will become you.
Glorfindel was a super saiyan. So, you know that. Okay, just yeah, a couple of seconds. Basically, the Balrogs that Gandalf fought, he was like he could solo a Balrog and defeat them without dying.
Oh, really? He was stronger than.
He was stronger than Gert.
Yeah, he was stronger than one of the wizards.
Yes. It's a complicated story, but yes.
No, but I'm just saying that's a really great feat considering the wizards are they're basically like
They're angels.
yeah they're
So angelic people. Anyway, but not to detract from the ladies again. Putting Arwen there in that scene, I think totally is fine because like she was a very strong female character, very queenly actually, super groomed and thing of power. So
I
I
think
was
what I like about Arwen is that she's not a throwaway parang female lead to match with your with your male lead, no. She grows in the story, and she in fact has strong influence in the things that are going on in the lore and in the story. Hindi siya parang, oh, she's just there to be pretty, she's there to be the queen of the king, parang ganon. Hindi siya ganon eh. Which which is, in a lot of stories that are similar to fantasy, there's a tendency women characters to be like that, 'di ba?
yung eye candy, strong intro tapos biglang okay, wala na silang kwenta. That's terrible. It's terrible story writing. Don't do that. Thank you. So let's move along. Maya, how about you?
Well, like I said, Eowyn is my favorite character in the PR. Um,
Mm.
Obviously because of that particular scene where she was fighting a wraith, right? Am I right?
Yep.
Chris' new revolutionary voice cancellation technology allows you to not only remove noise, but also other voices that are substantially different than your own. Now, you can have calls with other people talking in the background, and only your voice will be heard on the other end.
Infinite. Then she really had a crush on him. And she was basically turned down or rejected by him. And um, it kind of parang na it struck me with her na hindi siya yung magmo because she was rejected by her love interest. But instead, she picked herself up and she fought yung fight na kailangan niyang um, labanan, which is yun nga, it's to protect her kingdom and against the rape. So that for me.
To be fair, Aragorn gave her a very clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alam mo,
So,
yan yung, that's sobrang importante. Wait gusto ko lang, gusto ko lang sabihin, it's so important ang clarity, no? Kasi 'di ba, parang she was showing interest and ano parang clear kay Aragorn that I cannot give what you want. Yun talagang sinabi niya yun. So para sa akin parang despite the fact na parang gusto naman ni Aragorn yung friendship nila, ayaw niyang to lead on. So I think that's really really important. Wow. Talaga na ipasok ko yun, no? When it comes, yes. But just to add, I think with Ayowen is that like again Arwen hindi siya nagstick to female stereotypes when it comes to character, no. She refused to be just a lady in waiting na and because she knew that she had the capability to do more. And I think and there's nothing wrong being a lady in waiting, just so we're clear. Because there's some women who enjoy that role and there's some women who are good with that role. But in her case kasi she knew that she could do more and she was not going to let any man stop her from being able to do more. And 'di ba nga at the end no and favorite scene ko yun parang no man can stop me, parang I am no man. I mean, ganda ng scene. So, super.
Yes. But also I like what I liked about Erin before that was diba their kingdom was basically under the spell of someone na villain, diba? And her father was also under that spell. And yung brother niya was
her,
out.
Uncle niya actually yung king.
yeah, then her uncle was under the spell. But correct, her brother si Aemir,
Yeah, but the guys kasi are the ones supposed to be ruling the kingdom, diba?
Yep.
But they're si uncle under the spell and then si brother he's outside of the kingdom and basically si Eowyn lang yung natira dun sa kingdom to care for the uncle. And she was really heartbroken by what she saw that under the spell yung uncle niya and the kingdom is basically in ruins ganyan. So yung part dun lang sa part na yun, yung story niya from that and then moving fast forward to how she was able to really help out in rescuing the kingdom. Parang ano na, ang laman na para sa story niya as a woman in LOTR.
Yes, definitely one of the most famous female comedies. I think the biggest film. Hard to beat that line.
Correct.
Ikaw, John.
What about you, bro?
Um, I am always going to be Kate Blanchett all the way. Joke lang. Kate Blanchett
Oh.
talaga.
Yes. I'm gonna
Um,
write your answer because that would have been my answer.
lols. No,
Okay, go ahead.
actually, it was always I've always liked Aowen's character. Pero something about what's her name? I keep forgetting.
Galadriel.
Galadriel that just fascinates me. I
Mhm.
think she's parang when you look into the story, she's a very strong woman character. She is in fact parang when you read lore, you read about stories, halos ano tawag mo dito, ang husband niya parang ano lang eh. Parang minor character compared to her. I mean, the way you read the lore, the way you read, parang she's so much more important than he is. And
Yes.
not that I'm saying na mahinang character yung husband niya, which is far from it. But
Mhm.
it's just that you see the importance and the presence of this lady. And nakakatuwa lang kasi parang especially in that scene in the movie. And I'm not sure if this is in the book, no. But that
Mhm.
scene where um uh instead of a Dark Lord, you shall have a queen, ganun. That's that
Yeah,
scene where she's
yeah.
tempted.
Yep.
And it's amazing kasi na na parang despite the temptation, she was able to pull back, no? Na she was able to say no pa din dun sa temptation na yon. And so for me, parang I think I think it's acknowledging strong characters and specifically strong women. They they acknowledge that there is still things that uh can seduce them or can tempt them,
Mm.
Hmm.
but being able to rise above that is where where your strength lies, eh. And I think that's where you see na may strength talaga si Galadriel, na she's really for 'di ba, for peace. She's really for na parang to save everyone. And
Hmm.
though there is a temptation to become powerful, and she chose not
Mm.
to, no? Parang ganun. So,
Ah,
I agree.
and super, I mean Kate Blanchett isn't pretty, but the way she portrays Galadriel in the movies, sobrang ganda. Ay, ako for me, kasi I
she
don't
has
find Kate
some power.
Blanchett that pretty, eh. But the way that they made her up there, and the way she carries herself, parang wow.
Classy kasi.
Sobrang classy, 'di ba?
Elegant.
Very queenly, very elegant,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
powerful. So yeah, just like John, I would have gone for Galadriel. Also, especially because of the history nga. So this is my nerd card coming out. But
Yes,
Galadriel
please
said,
do educate us.
Educate us,
Galadriel
sir.
said in the history, she was the daughter of like High King, the elves, and the kingdoms of the elves you see in the movies are like these are like parang super tiny communities compared to the elves in the height of their power, which you won't see in the upcoming Amazon one, because even at that time the elves had already withdrawn from the north. So Galadriel is like she literally could be queen of all the elves if she wanted to. So Elrond,
Crisp's new revolutionary voice cancellation technology allows you to not only remove noise, but also other voices that are substantially different than your own. Now, you can have calls with other people talking in the background, and only your voice will be heard on the other end of the call. This is groundbreaking audio technology, and it will become better over time. Enjoy perfectly.
that was her biggest struggle. Because she knows that she's a woman of great wisdom and compassion. At the same time, she's a person of
Crisp's new revolutionary voice cancellation technology.
of Galadriel, which is why she was able to resist the temptation of the ring. So that was her struggling very visibly with the full dark aura, you know, the power that she could do. And actually, I'm pretty sure Sauron, if he knew that Frodo had offered her the ring, would be like, this is bad. It's like she could totally smack him into oblivion. She's like, okay, no, no, Sauron, I'm more powerful than you. And she would just break down his stuff. So, but she let that go. And she clung to her wisdom. She clung to what she knew was right. And that speaks of a incredibly deep moral strength, you know, being able to resist that kind of temptation and corruption. You know. So that's my Galadriel right there.
So, kids, ang lesson, dapat
Thank you
marunong
for
mag-let
educating
go.
us, John.
Ay,
Super short
so
education, but yeah.
kids, ang ating lesson ay marunong mag-let go.
Oh,
Woo!
tsaka self-control, girls.
Yes.
Yes.
So for a
And
lot of times, di ba? So, Arwen got the guy, but, she was very patient. She waited like years for him to mature. I think she did. And then Eowyn was like, she moved on quickly, properly. She had her heart in the right place. And then Galadriel was like, mature woman. It's like, I know where to be, where my place is. I'm not just gonna grab everything that's
yes.
I mean, just kind of summarizing the relating points from the super complex.
Actually, naalala ko sa movie. I suddenly
Mm.
remember na
Mm.
ang bilis naka-move on ni Eowyn kasi nagkatingin na lang sila ni Faramir. Ay.
Ayan.
'Di ba? Nagkatingin na lang sila parang ako, really?
Well, in those days, in joke lang. I was like, you gotta move on quickly. Life goes quickly there.
Sabi ni David Palima sa comment, sana all
Mm.
marunong mag-move on ng mabuti.
Oh,
Amen, amen.
Amen, amen. Totoo. Kailangan yan. Importante.
mature communications. All right. I'm gonna pass the ball to someone else because I picked this time around. So let's throw it to
Sige.
someone else.
Ako na
Who wants
muna.
to?
Because I
Who
actually
wants
have a
to?
question kanina and I wanted
Oh,
to
sure.
discuss. So, I want to jump into Spider-Man, the women of
Wow.
Spider-Man. So there are several
Wow.
women in Spider-Man. And so we'll go through them and I think you guys decide sino ba gusto nyo or
Okay.
which ano. So we have
So is this it Spider-Man or the multiverse of Spider-Man?
it's the multiverse. So we have MJ that's played by Kirsten Dunst in the first Spider-Man trilogy by in the Sam
Ooh,
Raimi verse. Classic MJ redhead na although
Mhm.
she's kind of different from the comics. Then you actually have a Gwen Stacy in that Sam Raimi verse, although lesser
ooh, yeah.
known siya.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then you have Gwen Stacy in the what do you call this? The Mark Webb verse, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. See Gwen Stacy
Mm-hmm.
played by Emma Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you have MJ Michelle Jones Watson played by Zendaya in
Zendaya.
Zendaya in Zendaya ba Zendaya Zendaya
Zendaya.
Zendaya in the MCU
MCU.
Spider-Man. And then of course, meron pa akong isa, there's Spider-Gwen from Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yan.
Yep.
So
True.
we won't touch on the comic versions kasi we all know iba-iba yung comic versions and there are
There's a
other
lot of.
characters there, other women. And we will take forever if we go through that as well.
We'll stick to the leading ladies, quote unquote.
Oo. So, of those women, sino ba ang trip nyo? At sino ang hindi nyo trip? Who do you like and who don't you like? And why?
It's a good question.
Who wants to go first?
I can go first. We already kind of talked about this earlier, but I want the one I
I
don't.
don't like is nothing against Kirsten Dunst, but I don't like her anything. It's more on I don't like the way they wrote her. Than the She didn't really do anything for the the character itself. I don't even remember her character even like developing out of being the dancer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The one I do like, the one I would like was Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy. Because smart. Who doesn't like actually who doesn't like anyone?
There
Oh,
are people.
Because she was very. I mean,
a lot.
Who still hasn't watched the movie?
You were too young. Did not expect good movie.
Capitalize on this couple kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it's like it's just the first movie. There's no way she's dead. First movie,
She died second movie.
second movie. Sorry, it's like yeah, this is probably gonna go into a trilogy. There's no way they're gonna offer right then. It's like, oh wow, she is dead. I remember remembering that. Like, wow, she is dead.
Hindi mag-sink in.
Yeah, it's like wow, she is dead. Because usually they don't do that in Hollywood movies agad-agad. Eh.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I mean,
It felt a bit
And
early.
her death was very tragic too.
It was. It was.
It really was. Actually, what I liked about Gwen Stacy or the Gwen Stacy in the movie was
Yeah.
that prior to her appearing on the movies,
Yeah.
I was familiar with Gwen Stacy, but I never really understood her character because traditionally in most modern Spider-Man comics, it's always been um
Yeah.
Peter Parker and MJ, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
she Gwen Stacy, although she was a significant part in the earlier comic book storylines, it died pretty early. And so parang
Oh yes.
para sa akin na parang to see her on the big screen. Emma Stone did a good job in really breathing life into that character to give
Yeah.
us an idea why he's so important to
Mm-hmm.
the character of Peter. So parang the characterization of that character. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew that she was going to die at eventually either at the second or third film. But I mean, it was still tragic nonetheless to see it on camera. I'm like,
yeah.
and actually when I saw her, spoiler, spoilers again if you haven't seen the movie. But when I saw her in that scene where she was falling, oh no, this is it. I felt it already, and yet it didn't. It didn't cushion the blow. Ramdam na ramdam
Mm.
ko pa din yung oh oh my gosh,
Like
yung
wala
so
man lang ano
close.
no, wala man lang last breath or something.
Wala
Basta
eh. It was like crack.
out agad eh.
Kasi of how she died, she's just literally whoop. As in,
Yeah.
that was an epic death scene. No?
Mm.
And people are
Literally.
still even now. People are still parang arguing whether she died because she hit her head or she cracked her spine. Gets
Yeah.
mo? Kasi
Well, I mean,
she
that
did
I
hit her
think the one to
head.
the head. Yeah, she did hit her head.
I think it was the head tap because if you crack your spine, you'd still be alive, but you'd be paralyzed for life.
Because
But if
in
you hit,
the comics she died because of uh a cracked spine eh.
well,
I
I
think
Oh.
it was just much more dramatic for it to be a hit on the head. That's why they did that one. Because
we
if it
could,
was a cracked spine, it's not as visual. That's why they did that.
yeah, it's true. That's true.
So it kind of is different in the sense na parang pagdating dun sa oh gosh, hindi I cannot talk about it because it's still too close. I cannot talk about No Way Home.
Well, you can't talk too much about when did No Way Home come out?
It's been like
Last year. It came out
Yeah,
last year and then it came out in Philippine cinemas this year, January.
Yeah, January.
Actually, it's been like 3 months since release. I think we can talk about it.
Yeah, it's been a while now. So
So we'll just say, okay, spoilers for No Way Home right here. Although it's been 3 months, I think it's very acceptable to discuss it at this point.
I think that scene. Okay, fine. We'll talk about.
Your call.
Go for it. Like we have
Pero-
given our spoiler alert disclaimer. If you don't want No Way Home stuff, we are gonna talk about it now. You can
Okay.
close your
Mhm.
stuff for a while.
So anyway, it's that's simple that simple scene where Andrew jumps save MJ. And
Yes.
the difference was this time did not jump and use his web, but rather talagang he jumped and caught her, which is a significant difference. And I think there is that idea that if if Andrew Garfield's Peter did the same thing kay Gwen, Gwen might still be alive.
Mm.
Not that
Yeah.
aabot eh kasi sobrang
it was really far.
but that's the idea. And and I even saw this fan art where Andrew Garfield's Peter is carrying MJ. Tapos there's like a ghost Gwen holding on to
I
Peter.
saw
Parang
that.
ako,
If kung
That's
pinanood ko yung mag-isa, feeling ko iiyak talaga ako.
Kung hindi ka nag-isa,
Kung nag-iisa lang ako.
you should have friends you can cry with.
Oh, but I didn't cry.
pero actually when I was like, you can see Andrew Garfield's Peter like about to cry.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, of course. Impact yun sa kanya.
Pero
Wow.
again going back, Gwen Stacy as a character that although she was a damsel in distress in that last scene, she wasn't a damsel in distress. The reason she was there because she was also helping Peter stop
Yep.
parang wrong place, wrong time.
Not even wrong place, wrong time. If she wasn't there, they wouldn't have stopped him. But
She really wanted to help.
yeah. Unfortunate lang talaga na, well, she's a regular person in a fight with super people.
Yeah.
You get caught up in it, and well, unfortunate things can happen. So, still a strong lady. Cheers to her. Cheers.
What about the other two ladies, the MJ of MCU and si Gwen Stacy?
Gwen
na?
Stacy of Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
What about them?
Ako personally,
Ay,
I really like. I'm torn with the character of MJ in the MCU Spider-Man. He's grown on me, but
Pero,
but she is so not like the MJ I remember. Meaning to say na parang she's like a new character. They just gave her the name MJ. That's how I feel about her.
Kinda is, yeah.
Because granted that the MJ in the Raimiverse is kinda different then from the comic book characters, but she had a lot of resemblance to the original MJ. This one talaga parang it's like a totally different new character. So I like her in that sense that she's grown on me, but I cannot call her MJ in the traditional sense. She's like, for me, she's a different character altogether.
Well, I guess maybe because I also read other versions of MJ. So, similar to John, Zendaya's MJ has grown on me, but I don't know. It's I guess maybe she's like a number 2 for me. I kind of like if I had a hierarchy, yeah, I would say that nostalgia, of course, it's Kirsten Dunst, but the epic kiss scene was very nice and aesthetic. But as a woman character, as a female character, as a lead, it's like I wish they showed her strength more because in the comics they have a stronger classic redhead, the whole tiger thing, and she was an actress, she did stuff. So here it's like she didn't quite get to get into the mature thing. Same with Zendaya here. You see her as you see her, she's smart, she's competent, she's got this. The funny thing is she feels a little more like the sarcastic Spider-Man than Tom Holland. Diba? She has that So it's like she does kind of have more of it. So that's fun about her. But I don't know. I also do like the Gwen, Spider Gwen. It was a really tough call for me. It's maybe it's between the two, either Spider Gwen or Zendaya. But I'll give it to Spider Gwen alone. Even if she's only one movie, she feels like a really awesome character. And definitely, she did a lot in the movie, and she's coming back in the second one. So I really look forward to seeing more of her. So she's young, she's independent, she's capable, and as she does grow, she's very sympathetic to Miles Morales. So I don't know. I kind of like that. I like the vibe. I like the energy. Even if she's
but also everything that the Spider-Man went through
Yeah.
but the woman, 'di ba? So
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
imagine yung struggle ng mga Spider-Men. Tapos eto si Gwen, Spider-Gwen, siya din,
Yeah.
she will be going through that as a woman. So how much more um difficult for her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, and also the tragedy that he experienced early on, eh. The one that formed her character is yung death ni Peter Parker in her universe.
Right.
Parang
Mm,
best friend
mm,
niya, tapos biglang taken away. And so parang, and I think the way, correct me if I'm wrong, I think she lives alone na. She's by herself. She doesn't have anybody else. And so it kind of reminds me of the Tom Holland now that he's all alone. No? Ngayon,
yeah.
the current
Yeah.
MCU. And so it gives you that sense na parang despite her being alone, no, parang she carries on, she fights in the
Mm,
movie, 'di ba? And parang
Mm-hmm.
which is also why I think napaka-importante ng friendship niya or relationship in the making with Miles in that universe kasi yun nga
Right.
eh, he's been alone all this time eh. First time niya talaga magkaroon ng kaibigan, first time na magkaroon ng quote-unquote team.
mm, mm.
Mm-hmm.
But by the way, since we talked about Spider-Man, I just want to make a special mention
Mm-hmm.
to one other fictional female in the Spider-Man universe, si
Cool.
May Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Aunt May.
And I think I really like the the newer iterations of Aunt May in like in the games and in the movie because she's not just an old aunt, like she works in a I know what they call this in for an NGO.
Homeless,
'Di ba?
homeless people.
Oh
That
man.
helps, 'di ba? That helps
Yeah.
people, especially the homeless and
Mm,
the hungry. So
Oh,
parang
that's a
nakakatuwa
good
lang
one.
na may
A good
ganun tayo.
one.
And that is actually I was so surprised that that was continued in the MCU Spider-Man na ganun din si Aunt May doon. Parang
I'm
it's
gonna.
really it's really nice to see that the female character has evolved from just the simple old aunt ni Peter to someone actually of significance,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
someone who has a heart, and you can see why Peter. One of the reasons why Peter is like that is because of who raised him, 'di ba? Aside from
Yeah.
Uncle Ben.
mm,
I
Mm-hmm.
would say instead of just having a heart, because all
Mm-hmm.
the Aunt Mays had great heart. I would say she became a more active
yeah,
energy. Because the Aunt Mays and the old Aunt Mays, they had a good heart, but they were like old and passive.
yeah. So basically yung pinas down lang nila na makikita mo sa movies
Yeah.
kay Peter was their wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
But here in the MCU, you see her very active in her lifestyle kung paano niya
Like they're still
bring up yung sarili niya.
exactly, they're still actually living out that compassion and wisdom. Like they're actually
Yes.
doing it. Whereas there,
Mm,
they just talk about it and say, "I've done this before. Here, I pass it to you."
yeah.
That's true.
And I
So
think
it's a different.
ang amazing kasi doon is that what do you call that? Yung he actually was an example of what it means to help others. An example of
Mm,
what it means to be compassionate. And I think yun nga that's what Peter Parker's upbringing is eh. That's why Peter is like that because Aunt May is like that.
mm, mm,
To an extension Uncle Ben, but for most cases kasi Uncle Ben also has died already. So parang ano mo yun, and
I
moral
know.
compass niya eh. 'Di ba nga sabi niya no? Even in the movie, parang the moral compass of Peter is really it's really was really dependent on Aunt May, no? What Aunt May, ba?
mm,
The villains were not just villains, they still deserve help, 'di ba? Parang ganun nga yung
Yeah.
mm,
pagkakasabi ni Aunt May and he imbibed that that thinking, no?
That
Yeah.
Yeah, parang you're not the
they're not caricatures, they're people.
Mm-hmm.
And I
They're
think
people.
just to add, yes, we have with the Christian angle, we see that this is also a message of Jesus, 'di ba? That we are to love our enemies. Hindi lang naman just because they're enemies, because we don't agree with them, because we have arguments with them, doesn't make us make them any less deserving of God's love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we should,
As much as we would like to disagree, but that's the truth.
yes, especially since
It's
especially
true.
now since I will touch a bit on this. It's just that especially now since a lot of people are arguing on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Diba? Parang we should
It
learn
creates a
to
lot
love even those who we disagree with. It's difficult,
of
but it's the right
the politics thing
way
right
to do
now.
it. Yeah.
Because right now we're having it's election season in the Philippines, and it's just
Yep.
the most, just like Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. This is the most divisive time, di ba? It's the most divisive time of the Philippines.
Kinanta talaga.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that
well,
is the preview of our karaoke session on Geek Nights, Level Up Geek Nights.
one day maybe we'll see. We'll see. We'll
Well,
peg.
we can't stream it for sure.
You never know.
Yes, we changed the lyrics.
Just change the lyrics. Okay, so let us move on.
What other worlds?
Sige.
How about Gio's turn? Why don't you
Gio,
pick?
Ah.
why don't you select a fandom for us?
Hmm.
We have done books, we've done movies.
I'm
Perhaps you
thinking video games, but what are the video games that all of us have actually played?
Shit, I don't know.
I have to say that if we're gonna talk about video games, one of the most iconic has to be Tomb Raider. You have one of the most
Mm.
iconic female is Lara Croft.
That's true.
Not bad.
I mean, I played like the original game, some at least to a certain extent, but I never really played it. Played it. If parang
But we did watch the movies of like. So she's gonna
ah
be like multimedia heroine because she's both in movies and she's both in video games.
yep.
That was she was a fun character. The movie characters were all fun. I really like how I know depicted her. Duh, how could
Which one? The first movies, which Angelina
the
Jolie.
first set, the one based on the original PS one and two Tomb Raider. See, I know. See, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I
Angelina
forgot.
Jolie.
Really, right?
Angelina Jolie, yes, it's like
Okay.
the person's in my head. It's like yes, Angelina Jolie. She was a great character. Very powerful.
Selena. I sorry, wrong song.
Yeah, the song came out in Angelina, Angelina.
But
You
yun,
know,
I don't
I
know.
suddenly remembered I
Hmm.
suddenly remembered at sorry, anecdote. I suddenly remembered this story where a friend of mine was telling me na yung friend niya who was with him at the time saw a poster of Tomb Raider. And remember the title of the first Tomb Raider was Lara Croft Tomb Raider. And then
Yes,
that friend of his daw said,
Hmm.
ano sabi niya, nagbago ba ng pangalan si Angelina Jolie? Kasi nakalagay yung Lara Croft.
Yeah, I actually didn't know anything about it before the movie. But anyway,
Kasi nakalagay Lara Croft Tomb Raider. So
I
it
know.
seemed like
Funny.
that's the artista's name eh.
Just know her as Tomb Raider.
yeah.
Yeah, inaalala ko yung movies.
You-
I think what was striking to me about Angelina's Lara Croft was yung the story about her being brought up by her dad, and then her dad suddenly being parang absent, and then but she continued yung yung parang legacy ng dad niya in Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
So yeah. But
So-
in the following movies parang siguro mas mas evident na sa kanya yung um, her as a strong, powerful woman
Mm-hmm.
who is going up against yung mga Tomb Raiders na men.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember much. So, kayo ba? Paano niyo siya na-remember as Tomb
Yeah.
Raider?
Honestly, I don't remember too much, but I just remember the general vibe, which is she displayed a lot of great qualities, and she was a great combination of intelligence, um, physical excellence, and ano ba, cunning social skills, all wrapped up into one person. So for me, that was like, I don't know, and Jolie just really does well with these multi-talented roles combined with like sexual appeal because that's like her thing. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. For me, that's what stuck out to me.
I remember the
Plus,
movie.
oh, yeah. Go ahead, John.
Kasi I remember the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And sabi ko nga, wow, she really looks like Lara Croft. I mean, the
She
way I
does.
remember it in the games. Although let's face it, no, Lara Croft was introduced because the female character sexualized. She became popular
Yep.
because of that. Let's face it. No? Um, but the more you explore, the more they built the world around her. The more that they actually built the character na hindi lang siya sexy.
Mm.
No?
Mm.
But
Yep.
that she actually has a great mind, no?
Mm.
And you know what's funny? I just thought about this lang pala ngayon. In the
Mm.
movie, Lara Croft's father is portrayed by John Voight. John Voight is the actual father of Angelina Jolie.
Mm.
Mm. That is awesome.
I
But
didn't
do
know
you know
that.
what's funny? Kasi John Voight and Angelina Jolie have an estranged relationship
Oh.
because absentee father si John Voight. So para sabi ko, parang
Oh.
medyo on the nose yung movie. Kasi nga, absentee father yung father ni Lara Croft. Not because of
Yeah,
his
yeah.
choice. Because supposedly he
Mm.
died, di ba?
Mm.
Pero, di ba? Para pag medyo on the nose masyado. But anyway, going back to her character is that what I liked about her character is her resilience. Na regardless of
Mm.
sino yung kalaban niya, regardless kung mga lalaki yung mga kalaban niya, regardless of what is going on, she will fight for the truth, fight for ano eh,
The
uh,
word.
for those who can't fight for themselves. Parang ganun yung dating ni Lara Croft para sa akin, no? And um
Mm.
what do you call this? She is very loyal to her butler, to yung tech person niya. Parang ganun yung
Mm.
character niya. And to a fault that ano 'di ba, even the person that would betray her, he was loyal to, 'di ba? So
Mm-hmm.
it speaks so much of her character, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is a person that you can trust. It's a person
Mm.
that will not let you down, will not give you up.
She's a Rick Astley.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I would also like to add na she's a woman who gets the job done,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because every challenge, every puzzle, every parang mission that she's on,
Mm-hmm.
she she really makes it a point that she will finish it. Yun nga, no matter how hard the job is and whoever is up against her. So,
Well,
yun yung parang magandang quality sa kanya.
that's true. I don't remember how although she was loyal to the men around her, even if she was a leading lady. I just can't quite recall. I was thinking like she willingly accepted the support of people when it was given to her. So of course I might be wrong here, but it felt to me like from my fuzzy remembering of the movies.
I
So
think
we
she
can say,
did. I think she
yeah.
did accept the help of other people. Ang ano lang sa kanya is that it takes a while for her to trust new people. Kasi parang kumbaga, I will accept your help doesn't mean that I trust you now. Parang gano'n.
So she was
Except
smart. She was
yes.
smart about it. She had wisdom with people.
She a people person.
And she was a people person. Actually, there was a scene there na parang she's talking to the natives in Thailand. Yung
Yeah.
mga ganon. Na parang she is not aloof. She's not your typical heiress. Because she is an heiress.
Yep, she is. She is an heiress. She is a rich girl. But yeah, she was very connected with people. Hmm. Not much we can say about the games and I know we ended up going to the movies, but we sprung out from the
Yeah.
game.
Where we talked about a game that none of us really play.
No, it's also in the games because you're kind of focused more on, especially the earlier games. The story wasn't quite as big as a deal.
No, it wasn't.
The puzzles versus the I don't know adventures.
There was even one game that had the dinosaur at Rex. And
It's funny. It's funny. But maybe we can look at a different game. Like so again, let's try to maybe we can just do a one shot. Like not necessarily a game that everyone has played, but we'll just give one character from a game we've played, and then we can just round robin it. Since I have a feeling medyo widespread masyado yung games natin.
Mm-mm. We have very varying
Very
degrees
taste.
of games we play.
may magandang games. Actually, what characters that have mannequin game?
I can go first if you guys
Go.
don't mind. So I'll give you everyone a chance. So for me, the game I will choose is Mass Effect. So Mass Effect has a very strong cast of characters, both male, female, and aliens. You can even, of course, you can choose to be a female character lead yourself. But to me, well, I chose, of course, a male type, and yung 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 cast dyan from 1, 2, and 3. The one I liked the most ultimately was Tali. So for those not familiar with her, Tali is she was the geek. She was like in the when you meet her in Mass Effect 1, she's like this geek. I won't go too spoilery in case someone wants hasn't played the game yet and wants to go through it. But basically you first meet her in the first game. She's a geeky girl, kind of like fresh out of college vibe, and it's like, oh, the world. Oh no, it's trouble. So you kind of it's very innocent, it's very cool, and you meet her there, and it's like you take her into your crew, of course, recruitable character, lah. So parang, and then she kind of grows with you along the way. She appears in the other two games, and I love her character growth. So not to get into too much details, she definitely matures a lot from the first game, where she might have this, high school crush kind of vibe on you because you rescued her and everything, which is how you meet. So not too spoilery. But when you get to the third, the second and the third game, she really matures into her own. She comes into her own presence. She becomes a more significant person, not just to you in your game, but in the story. Like, because she's Aquarian, a certain type of alien species, and they're one of the major species in the universe. And she kind of becomes a significant figure with them. So it's like you really see her grow from hello, fresh out of school or kind of vibe to a woman who is making ripples and waves in her society kind of thing, and she's part of your team. And of course, it's up to you if you want to romance her or not. Build that kind of relationship. You could totally could because it's a first episode, ba lang, first episode, first game. She had that high school vibe, which is very adorable and innocent. But when you get to the third game, if you persist with her all throughout, you feel her more mature thinking and commitment and loyalty, and she's very competent. So it's like you see a character who grows with you, and that's what makes me like Tali, Zariah. So really awesome. Also, the whole nerdy, geeky vibe was always appealing to me. The innocence growing into a mature but not bitter person. She became a mature and more experienced person but not bitter, di ba? So she learned from her experiences. It was very nice. So she didn't run from the world; she engaged it. So I like that about her because she could have done that. You know, the nerdy types often withdraw from the world. I would know that, but in her case, she rose up to the challenge. She had good examples, and she engaged it, making it better when she interacted with them. So I really like that about her, and that's my one of my fave characters. So who wants to take the ball? Who's next? Game characters, female game. Where do I throw this?
Okay, sige, I'll jump in. So one of the eto, I have two characters that I have in mind. One is just it came to mind. I don't know what you think of her because I think she is a character that is not super popular but interesting in my opinion.
Controversial.
Si Zelda of Legend of Zelda. Not Link, si Zelda
Oh.
mismo.
We yes, we would have our geek cards revoked if we confuse.
So not Link, we're talking about Zelda. Because when we play Legend of Zelda, we're always playing Link, right? And but we it isn't and initially when I think of Zelda, she was always the what's the word I'm looking for? She was always the damsel in distress princess. That's how she
Yeah.
was portrayed
In
in
the original games, yeah.
the original game. But we later on see that actually she is much more. She's much more later on. So parang ako I find her interesting in such a way that um he he really is fighting for her kingdom. She's not just parang waiting for uh
Someone to save her.
someone to save her and to talagang she's making ways to prevent si what's his name si Ganon to
Mm.
to take over, no?
Yeah.
And she even what they call this, she even took on a quote unquote male persona para in the Ninja Zelda, no? Para
Chic.
si Sheik, yeah. No? So parang interesting siya sa akin. Um and it's worth noting because I think not a lot of people are familiar with that character, Zelda. But one of the female characters that has always endeared, maybe because it's the first, it's also probably my first female game character crush was was Tifa Lockhart. So
Ooh.
I really love I really love Pa Lockhart. While everybody was so in love with Aerith, and I understand, I like Tifa's character more because I felt like she kicked ass. No? Granted, no, sabi nga, there is a tendency for her to be sexualized then because, the character design.
Yeah.
But in terms of her character herself, 'di ba? Parang she rose from ano from where she came from, 'di ba? Parang she lost everything in her. She lost everyone that she loved in town and she alam mo yun parang she was able to survive regardless. In fact, she was struck down by by Sephiroth and she lived, no? So parang for me he was an amazing character and yung personal responsibility niya that she wanted to really take care of Cloud to make sure that he recovers towards the latter part of the game. For me it speaks about her nurturing nature, which often is overlooked because everybody likes Aerith. Not that I hate Aerith, it's just that everybody just loves Aerith and then like, she's cute and all, but less more kick ass. So and she stands on her own. I mean, if you watch Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, the movie,
Right, right.
ang ganda ng fight scene niya eh. Super ganda ng fight scene niya.
Oh yeah.
It was.
So
It was
parang
great.
one of the best. Actually, sabi ko nga, mas maganda pa fight scene niya doon kesa kay Cloud eh. Para for me one of the best
Yeah,
fight scenes I've seen.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
parang, that's how I imagine, yung sabi ko nga when I first saw that in the Advent Children. Oh, that's how I imagine the fights would have gone if real time yung Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 7 game.
Yes. No,
Mhm.
yeah, I do like Tifa as well. She was a great character. Um, Mostly because of the fighting stuff. I like fighting stuff. If that's not already apparent. So, as the whole martial arts power skill set was really cool for me. I didn't really like the Aerith caster thing.
The only thing about Aerith is I liked about as a playable character, as someone
Yeah.
super strong healing. And then she
The
dies in the first disc. And I'm like,
Spoiler
spoiler
not a
for
spoiler
20,
anymore.
for the remake.
the remake. But anyway, I do like Aerith's character in the remake. She gets more depths, and she's cuter in a funny way. As one of our friends, Vince in particular, has mentioned, Aerith became even more appealing to him, sorry, in the remake because she has a more mischievous energy.
Yes.
Yes, she does.
She
Yeah, she
does.
wasn't as mischievous in in the original
Uh,
version of the game.
they still kept her Genki energy, happy. Yes, let's do things. Cheery vibe. They still kept that, but they just gave her another dynamic, which she's also like
So
mischievous and
although
she
she's
likes.
kinda Fujoshi.
So yeah, I think that's exactly the mischievous energy that he kind of laughs at, that people laugh at.
Hmm.
But yeah, basically all the characters I think have a. I like how they get more fleshed out in the remake. So,
Next, stop.
so
Here next.
Games. Uh, I'm trying to think. Also, the games kasi I play don't actually have much stories. At least, I mean, I'm just trying to think kasi what I've been playing recently, like Mario Kart and stuff like that.
yeah.
So right now, like
Peach.
my
Joke
mind's
lang.
got to be. Hmm,
Actually like Rosa.
Oh, well, ikaw
yeah,
may ano ka. Maybe you have someone's in mind.
Um, as
maybe
you
Genshin.
know, I am not a a full
And
out gamer. I am just a casual gamer. I only have one game, and
current,
that's Genshin Impact.
currently only one game.
Yes.
We're still trying to
Ah.
get her into
Oh.
this other game.
We're trying to still get her to this critically acclaimed MMORPG.
Which
Mhm.
has
I
a lot of good female characters, actually. It has a lot of good female characters.
yeah. Um, and recently, they brought out na yung Electro Argon, who is Raiden Shogun. And I would sige. Medyo mahirap kasi yung lore niya, yung story niya.
Yeah, I know Genshin
Because,
has actually has lore. It's a little convoluted lang now, di ba? Medyo.
yeah. Yeah, so basically, she's the Archon of Inazuma, an area in Genshin Impact.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, Inazuma is parallel to parang Japan, di ba?
Yeah,
So, and Raiden Shogun yung name niya, di ba? Si A.
yeah.
So,
Super.
ang pinaka parang advocacy nga of sorts is she wants to achieve eternity for her yung sinasakupan niya, which is Inazuma nga. And it's at first she looks like a villain because she has this decree na yung visions which yung ginagamit ng mga people, yung mga tao sa Inazuma who have powers, which the visions gave them. Parang yung decree niya is to confiscate that kasi she doesn't want parang anything to to na masira yung kind of peaceful kind of eternity na gusto niyang ano para sa kabuuan ng Inazuma, which eventually became parang not a good thing for for the people of Inazuma kasi like the visions are kind of a helpful thing for them to do things to actually be of use to the country itself. So but apparently eto din si A ano din siya medyo complicated din yung character niya because she sorry kasi medyo spoiler din to for for mga naglalaro ng Genshin.
So,
She
Genshin
actually,
spoilers. We want.
yes. Ayan. So, she actually has two personas. The one persona is Raiden Shogun, who is kind of like an AI na nilagay niya over Inazuma to watch over Inazuma to parang be the ruling person over Inazuma. So siya yung nagpapagalaw nung decree, nung Vision Hunt decree. So she's kind of a ruthless ruler for them. But then there you have the real A who parang because of a tragedy that happened before she kind of parang withdrew in her self-consciousness. So ito na yung complicated part. Na parang
Okay.
ang ang parang ang interpretation ko doon is she withdrew from her responsibilities from her because of what happened before. Parang she was scared na she didn't want to make a mistake in ruling Inazuma ganyan. And then you have the traveler na sobrang 'di ba outside pumasok siya sa Inazuma and he did parang opposite things that against against A, and basically to cut the long story short, the traveler was the one who parang shifted her perspective about eternity, about things na actually it was actually okay pala not to
Society.
parang i-close yung Inazuma to everyone, but actually yung perspective niya of eternity is not the kind of ruling that Inazuma is best for, ganun, parang ganun. So I think that as a woman who rules over Inazuma, I think what's admirable about her is that she was able to overcome yung yung trauma that she had before nung nagkaroon ng tragedy, because yung ruling Archon before was her sister, and her sister died, and that's why she withdrew into her self consciousness, and parang iniwan niya lahat to an AI, 'di ba? So yung acceptance ng mga pangyayari sa Inazuma, and actually grieving kasi hindi siya nakapag-grieve before for her sister who died. Parang ngayon lang niya ina-accept 'yan. And finally she was able to parang loosen that that kind of dictatorship kind of ruling over Inazuma. So she was portrayed in the video game as a very strong person because of the AI na nag-ano sa kanya, na nag-take over sa kanya in ruling. But in essence, siya yung the real A. She was really kind-hearted, and she was able to shift that perspective and was able to come out of her parang yes, her shell, her self-consciousness, where she grew from, and she accepted the things that are happening around her. So yun.
So she's it's the growth, parang pattern of growth. So she's already a person in a position of power, However,
Yeah.
yung process niya is more of like ang emotional growth niya
Yeah.
from traumatized and enclosed to
Mm-hmm.
discovering a path of healing and more openness.
Yes.
Yung nice.
Isip ko, ano, no, parang nice to see female characters that are like that. I mean, that have character growth and can get past trauma because let's face it, ano a lot of people act because of their past traumas. Kaya kailangan lahat na mag-glorious
Mm-hmm.
hope. Oh,
Yeah.
nag-promote pa ng ministry.
You're not wrong. Glorious Hope is an awesome thing, you know.
but
Very healing in your heart.
but 'di ba, a lot of people do act out of fear or act out of their traumas. And to be able
Mhm.
to
Mm.
overcome that is really something eh. Kasi yung tunay na ikaw lalabas when you're able to overcome that. And I like the fact that we have more female characters now that have ano parang their leaders who are ano tawag mo dito parang shows signs of strength and growth in their character. I'm looking at you at Princess Peach. Parang ever since ganun ka na.
Yeah, that's like a character that I have never seen. I don't know if there's any growth. Is there? I don't play the Mario games.
Yeah, ano, I think better si Princess ano, Rosalina nga sabi ko, better than
As someone mentioned, mas okay si Rosaline. Okay, okay, yes, legit.
and I think it's nice to see that female characters or leaders are not just there kidnap.
Oh
Alam mo
gosh,
yon because that's the typical stereotype. If
Mm-mm.
you're
Yeah.
a female princess or queen, ikaw yung kikidnapin, ikaw yung papatayin, whatever. It's nice to see that we have characters who are not like that, and yet they are
mm-hmm.
leaders of their own right.
Very much
Actually,
so.
so to be honest, like if any of you have played FF8, maganda sana yung character ni ano Noah in that sense eh. Kaya lang
Uh,
talaga hindi ako I can't get past the love story. And
well,
I can't get past yung what do you call this? Ginagamit niya yung dog niya si Angelo as ano, as
as a
a
weapon,
as a
that's ridiculous.
weapon.
It's funny. It's funny.
It's
I'll give
funny
it.
but pero that's supposed to be she was a rebel. She is rebelling against a power that is occupying her country. Parang alam mo 'yun, strong female characters
Mm-hmm.
biglang
Yeah, she has a very odd trajectory.
Yep. I think Gio has a lot to say.
You have
But, ah, I mean, not about video games. I guess I could give different areas.
well,
Maybe, hmm.
we can do anime manga, which is another huge geek verse if you'd
Oh
like.
yeah. I've only the ones I've been really following recently are One Piece and and the
BNHA.
yeah, that one too.
So,
Recently, they've been focusing a lot more on. I want to talk about it, but it might be spoilers because the others just follow the anime.
so we can just tell them. Okay, is there anyone in this chat right now? Sa ano to? Is One Piece?
No, I want to talk about the DMHA because so One Piece they haven't really focused much on the girls
Right. That's
in recent
true.
story, recent stuff. But
So
with
let's just
with BNHA, they've been focusing a lot on the side characters other than Deku.
that's true.
Mm. But
Ganito
ano
na.
na lang tayo, disclaimer ulit.
Uh-oh. So John, I don't think John's really following
I
Boku
haven't
no
read
Hero.
the manga and I don't mind spoilers. So
That's true.
Yeah, that's JB.
And then for Maya, ikaw, where are you at in the manga? Are you
Caught
up?
up. I'm caught up.
Caught
You're
up?
caught up
Okay.
in the manga. Okay, great.
So just to say again, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Boku no Hero manga, we are going to be discussing stuff that happens in the most recent manga releases. So if you haven't seen it, then take a break
Or read it.
or go read it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah,
so
there were like 2 chapters released this week.
Oh.
ah, I have to go look at them. So, what do you have for us, Gio?
Yes. So I wanted to talk about the Ochako Uraraka
Oh, yeah.
or Uravity as her hero name is called. Kasi yeah, parang they've been really they kind of put a stop muna on Deku and focusing on side characters. One of them being si Uraraka, like or
Yeah.
like in her character development, I love like she originally wanted to become like a parang a hero like si what's his name? What's number 13? Uh,
The gun guy.
no, the black hole person.
Oh.
She wanted to be more in cleanup and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
But
yeah,
but
utility.
because of recent event niya, she actually decided to help out her friends by learning combat.
Mm,
Mm.
And yeah, parang um she's actually become the go-to person to handle Toga, one of the villains or one of the key villains in the what do you call them? What do you call them? Do they have a name? The League? It's the
Yeah,
League of
they
Villains.
changed their name.
It's pretty,
Paranormal something.
but yeah, the League of Villains. See,
the paranormal
she's
arm.
she's become the lead person to go to because she's had the
Mm.
most experience fighting her.
Mm.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I just love that her character development, like how she actually grew up. Poor family, they even show it like how they even show like in the manga how she was how had she grown up poor because like everyone else has smartphones, she's still using a flip phone
Yeah,
or
yeah. That's an interesting take.
mm-mm. And yeah, and parang she's doing this for her family. It's
Mm,
not really for herself, but her family. Yeah, really.
yeah.
She
She
wants to
became.
really help them out talaga.
Mm.
So it sounded funny because yeah, I do remember she became a hero because she wanted to earn money.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Not because she's greedy, but yeah, she wanted to support a poor family, which
Mm.
I'm probably not the best person to talk about it.
Yeah. Yun yung ano niya, motivation niya.
Uh,
I did like that. But to be honest kasi,
it's
you know,
so Filipino.
sa lahat
Sorry, I mean
ng
it's such a
BNH8,
Pinoy trait, no?
I was gonna say, sa lahat ng BNH characters, I'm not actually a big fan of
Her.
Uraraka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I can see
At-
character growth. Kita mo naman talaga eh. I like the fact that they are devoting character growth. Else, mag-aabok talaga ako. Considering since he's the main pairing with Deku, di ba? Parang, mag-aabok talaga ako
Mm.
kung wala siyang character growth.
Sorry, I don't know what that word means.
What?
Mag something.
Mag-aamok. I'm gonna go
Yes.
crazy. I'm gonna, ano,
Sorry. Okay.
magre-rebelde ako dito.
Yes. I got it now. Thank you. Thank you
The
for
table flip.
Table
um,
flipped, actually, yeah.
okay, okay. Thank you. Thanks, Drew.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Any other anime characters? Ako, I'm just
Mm,
looking at some of the popular anime characters. I just googled it to see what was,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the notable characters that I see here. I wait. I have to say this because this is I just find it funny. One of the most popular anime characters, Yaka from.
I would imagine she's popular. She's famous. Let's put it that
But
way.
she's
Yeah.
like, my gosh.
This
Nandimute?
is
Sino
this
ba
is
kasi yung ano niyan, yung survey audience niyan?
well, you know what? You can always just say simply like, this is um, she's famous. Pero
I
wag
would
tularan.
I would choose Sailor Moon over her.
Well, the thing is, it's
Kahit may gusto
popularity,
pa ako si
not
Sailor Moon.
necessarily good examples, right? So it's just like, oh, so who's a popular character? So I think if it's based on fame, then I could totally understand it. Just just sheer fame, Miyata gets.
So some of the names that came out here, well, number one, nasa listahan lang ng Google, Mikasa. Although I'm not a big Attack on Titan, but she came up as a
Mhm.
popular character.
Yeah, she is.
So she's
Uh,
just strong, but character-wise, parang very, very shallow, very, wala siyang laman. Oh, I'm
She
not a Mikasa
she
fan.
she feels like she only grows very slowly in a couple. There's like maybe two big points of growth for her, I would say. In the middle and in the end. But she's there basically because she's like, I'm a cool killer. And I guess
Yeah,
yeah,
because
she is.
I mean, her
Usually,
character kasi she's a loyal friend, and that's basically it.
She's a traumatized loyal friend. Like she was I remember I read through the manga kasi she has a lot of traumatic history. Um which is kind of why she's like that. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, she's popular definitely. Anyway,
let me go through some of the other ones. Baka comment kayo kung ano. Of course, there's Sailor Moon.
yes,
No?
of course.
I actually like Sailor Moon, to be honest. I like Sailor Moon because she does
Mhm.
grow in character from the first time you see her, the last time you see her. I mean, as the manga goes and as the anime goes, does develop a character growth. She does mature. Although kita mo na she doesn't change in a way na parang nawala na yung playfulness niya tsaka yung kind-heartedness niya. Yung pagka childlike niya is still there, but she also matures in a lot of other aspects, and she grows that confidence in hey, I want to defend the people that I love and the people of this world. Yung ganon
Hmm.
na character, and ako, for me, I appreciate that the mangaka, I forgot her name, the mangaka of Sailor Moon, no?
Oh, I feel like I should remember her name because
Yes, we should. Because the
Sum
wife of the mangaka of Sailor Moon is also the husband of the wife of the mangaka of Sailor Moon is the mangaka of Hunter x Hunter.
I
So,
feel like there we go. Naoko Takeuchi. Yeah,
yun, sinako tayo.
Naoko
So,
Sensei.
what do you think of Sailor Moon?
Hmm.
Um, it was she was an iconic '90s cartoon character, anime character. Beyond that, honestly, it wasn't the thing I went into. So I would be like, I don't know.
yeah, same.
I
How
don't have much to
about
comment about
Nami
her.
from One
She was
Piece?
so while you're searching for a character that you really like, I will actually come up with a character that I kind of like, and it's Robin from One Piece.
Ooh. Oh, shit.
So I really like Robin in One Piece because she's another example of a more mature female character. When you first meet her, she's not young because like in One Piece, basically it's Nami and then see Robin who are part of the crew. And Robin, I like her. She's smart and she's very intelligent and smart, and she's very composed. Di ba? Yun yung gusto ko sa kanya. Like, crazy stuff happens, she's just like, haha, smile. It's like, okay, we'll figure things out. Parang ganun. And she's very reliable. She's like, she blends into the background, but you actually know she's someone they can really count on. Um, ano lang, yun lang yung ano ko sa kanya. I like her character talaga. Um, and she has a lot of character growth as well. When you first meet her, she's very secretive and she has all these things. But later on, she becomes more of like she really becomes like an elder sister, caring for the group, supporting them. Um, I do hope they give her more screen time in not just the
Hopefully.
combat sense, but also in the background sense. So yeah, this is. I mean, I guess at this point, the standard is spoiler alert up to current One Piece, whatever, blah blah blah. So I do like the angle na she's the one who interacted with the Revolutionary Army. So that's a very interesting angle. I hope they leverage that later on down the line. I'm eager to see more of her in a significant role there. So For now, that's it. I guess. So
I have,
go
Okay.
go.
Okay.
ano, sige, two characters, but the other one is si Maki Zenin sa Jujutsu Kaisen, and then the other one is Maki, pa rin, sa sa Fire, ano to?
Oh,
The
Fire
fire one.
Force, Fire
Fire
Force.
Force. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, Maki,
I like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I kind of
different
relate.
different reasons. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I kind of relate to Maki in Fire Force because she's the very protected kind of girl sa story niya with her family. But then she grew up to be to join the Fire Force, to be some kind of a military soldier to save people. So I guess that part of her I really like because she really nag-ano din siya, nag-come out of her shell din siya. She didn't want to be the protected kind of girl anymore. And even with her with her relationship with her brother, she still felt that she was being protected by her brother, but she went her own way. She joined the force and ayun, she was saving lives. And then there's Maki Zenin from Jujutsu Kaisen na she also has a family trauma wherein she wasn't blessed or but she didn't have a curse. Yung power nila as a curse user ba yun or something. But she was able to kind of use that power as yung instruments lang, but in and of herself she didn't have that power, but she was able to use curse um infused instruments. So as you read in the manga, uh
Mhm.
um parang ano lang siya, she was a normal person, but yung family background niya, she also had traumatized she was traumatized as a girl because she was an outcast because she didn't have that kind of power. And she well at the end she was really a powerful woman then in the manga. She really was able to parang push through with all the bullying from her family being
Mhm.
an out, and she was able to din parang prove herself in in becoming ano matawag sa sorcerer, as she was studying in the in the school for
Mhm.
sorcerer. Yun ang two powerful women for me.
All right, sounds good. I
Um,
also just for a quick add-on, Kaimaki from Fire Force. She had one of the best and most realistic female arms. Back that was very like clap. It's like whoa,
Yeah.
drunk.
Ano siya, yung bodybuilding type ng pero woman.
Pero she wasn't like hindi yung exaggerated. It's like
Ah,
ano lang
fit,
tayo. Parang
very fit.
okay, actually achievable
Yeah.
female muscle bod. So anyway, random lang.
I guess it's my turn since ako pa lang hindi nag-share favorite female character. Actually, there are actually a bunch of names notable. I'll just go through them, pero I'll talk about the one that there's like Bulma from Dragon Ball. Uh,
Mm.
and then Motoko Kusanagi. Si
Yep. Gosh, yeah, I forgot
from the
about.
Fate Universe.
Okay.
And of course this is divisive. There Sakura from from Naruto. But ito, I think she doesn't all that hate.
She doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
There's Hinata also from Naruto. I like Hinata, except that siguro canon wise, hindi ko lang she wasn't the one that I thought that I wanted for Naruto. Sakura from Cardcaptor Sakura is one of my favorites. I have to say.
Ooh.
Um, I, I,
I'm
I
gonna I'm gonna bet just to seeing it lang. I'm gonna bet there's a couple more Sakuras in that list. Sorry, it's just that it's such a common Japanese hero name. But anyway, please go on.
Yeah. No, I want to talk about Sakura Sakura from Cardcaptor Sakura. I've been following this series since 2004 manga, and sobrang gusto ko yung character niya. Maybe because someone who is a child who is forced to grow up because of the circumstances around her, because
Yeah.
she is forced to become a hero at such a young age. Parang the burden of really parang protecting the world from the magics, it thrust upon her.
Yeah,
And
she was forced into it, no?
diba? But at the same time, although there are times that she hesitates, talaga, generally speaking, ready to fight. No? And because of who she is and her character, people are gravitate towards really helping her. Even people who had at one point or another considered her a rival, like si Shaoran, tsaka yung Lily. So they were like, ganun yung characters nila, parang rivals, but they were eventually drawn to her. And even enemies, there are many enemies that are drawn towards her talaga because of her character. And even unbeknownst to her, di ba, may mga characters that support her that she doesn't know. Like her brother.
Well,
So that's why I think ako personally, I enjoy their character. Kaya parang nung nag-move on siya to middle school pa lang siya.
yeah,
Parang
that was fun. I
interesting.
actually wonder if they'll bring her to high school. But
It's
anyway,
interesting to see what the plans are of Clamp for this character. Kasi ever since nagpasok yung mga multiverse ng Clamp, like the XXX Holic, medyo naging magulo yung storyline eh. Pero the original character Sakura is
it's true.
and then let's see characters. Haruhi. Of course, he'd be popular, but no, I don't. It's not. She's not
Haruki.
to be a Haruhi.
Yes.
Suzumiya.
Yeah, sorry.
The one that when she thinks about it, it becomes.
Yeah, she's based. I believe they've said na she is a god in her world.
Yep, she's a reality twister.
So, and another character, Toru Honda from Fruits Basket.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen that one.
Oh, it's a
Kasi it's a very shoujo anime. So,
it's very dramatic.
very dramatic.
Yes.
But, because when I got introduced to it fairly early on, as in yung manga, nasa 5 volumes pa lang ata. So, when I started going through it, I like the story because I can relate to the characters. All of the characters have trauma. All of the characters have
All have trauma. It's crazy.
kailangan nila lahat mag-G. So parang nakaka-relate ako sa mga characters. Kaya I got into it. But one shining characters nga, Toru Honda, who becomes the center of the story, the one that shows unconditional love kasi. And parang that's the beautiful part of it. Regardless of whatever the situation is, regardless of how she is showing unconditional love. Considering yung parang if you look at her past, look at how she was bullied, how she was not loved. The only one that really loved her unconditionally that her mother. So parang nakuha niya lahat yan, and that's how she treats everybody, even if they treat her like trash. Because there are so many characters that treat her like trash, that includes, diba? That includes her own family, that includes some of her classmates. Ganun talaga ang trato sa kanya. And yet, as that character na parang he could have chosen to be bitter, could have chosen to not, but yet she chose. So even, and because of that, the characters ng Fruits Basket, the family, the Zodiac family, parang when their secrets are revealed, parang a lot of them for the first time in their lives, they feel that someone actually cares for them genuinely, regardless of who they are. Parang for me, like a reflection of God's love. that regardless of who we are, regardless of the facade that we put on sometimes in front
Uh,
of people, God loves us. God knows who we really are down beneath all that facade, behind all the glamour. Wow, the glamour and the makeup, and we are and loves us regardless. That's why para Toro Honda is a model of that. It's a character aspiration, meaning to uh di imposible na maging ganon, na maging unconditionally love.
mm,
So I that's why I really like that character, and I think there is strength in that softness, in that compassion, to
mm.
be compassionate regardless of how people. That's why joke lang, di ako papasok doon. That's why kailangan natin bumoto ng joke lang.
Ahem. Yeah, we're
Ahem.
not gonna go into that tonight.
But but what I'm saying is really it is incumbent in all of us that we can show that kind of um parang unconditional
Yeah, yeah.
because he first loved us, diba? While we were sinners, he first loved us.
Mhm.
If um, he can do that as well. Good.
All right.
All right, I think that about sums it up. We've gone through a lot of the huge fictional universes, and I'm sure there's more we can get into, of course. But I think we have a solid array that we've tackled through for tonight. Oh, ano ba
Dami
ba?
talaga. Like there are some that characters we didn't get to discuss. I would have loved to talk about like Wonder Woman, for example,
Of course,
or
oh, it's a comic.
si talaga papasok sa utak ko. Si
Right,
Hawk
but
Girl.
we covered a lot of the comic stuff earlier, though, so that could have been a.
Anyway, that's it for us for our appreciation for female characters.
Mhm.
Are looking forward to the next topic, and you guys are here to join us, watching us right now.
And whoever else
Ako,
catches
tsaka
the
ikaw dyan.
oh no,
Baka kayo niya yun. But let's talk about it. Let's have fun. And you guys are looking for up to. You guys are looking
Speak out
ano,
with.
to talk
to
with.
to talk to share stories, to be part of a community. Here we are, Level Up, always open to talk to you. Professional help will find professional.
We're
And
not gonna say that's not
so
us.
you can visit us at our Facebook page, Level Up Game Nights, or you can go to site.lug regular activity. We have games, we have movies, we have games. We talk about geeky stuff, and then and some. Uh, Again, if you need someone to talk to, any one of us. Or all right, so that's it. Pansit. Thank you again so much, guys, and good night. Have a great.
おやすみなさい。
Good night.
Sayonara.
night.
Yeah.